already dealt with this issue of wetlands, just read it. And,
Making sure that it's,
yeah,
that all, that
we looked at it, we did that on site that day, and the pool was out of the buffer. So, I'm kind of feeling that, there's really not much we wanna do there, so I'll take
So
anyone's
how do we
opinion.
respond to them? So,
I didn't,
I just got it today.
alright, yeah, that's fine. No, I mean, within the resolution. So the one thing that it asks that seems pretty straightforward is asking for the calculations to be added to the most recent plan. That's right, so, does not show reference to the increase in impervious surface and calculations with the change of the reduction of the garage.
I think that was on a prior submission and it's not
Okay.
on, you only did
On
one
this sheet, yeah, it's not on this sheet, it was included with the.
It's
with
in the
full,
prior
yeah,
submission, with the
absolutely.
prior submission, okay,
Yep.
that's fine, alright.
So it will be included.
It will be,
Yes,
yeah.
it was part of the
It is
official record, it
included
is part of the
because
official record, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, that's all, I felt like that was a pretty straightforward comment.
I
So I
don't want to
appreciate the
stinger
response.
here, but these filter systems, is the second one, and this is the same system that we're doing on Pine Island, which needs a maintenance agreement and everything else. I mean, it's an enforcement thing, is what I'm saying.
So you would like,
No, I'm saying, is there not,
What are you saying, Christian?
I'm saying that I don't wanna be responsible
overdesigned
or
this?
have the property owner be responsible for something that requires such frequent changes. It's a structural water quality measure, and on this site, large land and alternative opportunities, this isn't the case of, these would be like last resort kind of thing. Which, by the way, the quantity of water that we're talking about and and if it was unmitigated, let's say, I don't know what that is, but it probably isn't great. So, I mean, let's make the effort here proportionate to the impact, but I'd like to know what the system is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably a detail on your sheet, but
Yeah, it's been included, so it's essentially a filter system. For this, it's geared towards residential, so it's removing leaves and sticks and stuff like that.
That's the bottom of the
Um,
No one's looking for
you did
it. I'm
this-
spellbound.
yeah, what?
I get these wrong so often.
You guys are crazy.
I mean, what do you think, this one, this one?
Come on, get on.
Just to clarify, this filter system is really just for this one house.
Correct.
It's not for the other house, and it wouldn't be for if a third house ever got built.
No, it would just be strictly for 83.
Yeah, so it's quite different than Pine Island
Okay.
Drive, which is a road with multiple vehicles. Many
So
vehicles.
meaning that the pollution demand would be less with this?
Yes, and the change demand would be a whole lot less.
We could look at, we could look at deeper sumps to collect leaves and whatnot, and then, I mean, that's an easier.
What's the surface of the driveway? Is it asphalt?
Gravel
The back end's gravel, the front part off revolves
is existing gravel,
asphalt.
yeah.
I mean, can't infiltration be considered a water quality measure?
Yes.
That's what I guess what I'm saying, an alternative that is less demanding
Maintenance.
on
I
maintenance.
think that's why we like the gravel driveway, and again, we could deepen the sumps on the proposed inlets.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy with deeper sumps.
For that too.
Like I would, yeah,
It's an easier
whatever,
maintenance, yeah.
that
Confine the
reduces-
specter of enforcement to places that will really need it, that actually have great consequences.
Or
Enforcement
last
can be
resort.
shaky.
or a last resort sort of thing, like,
Right.
you really don't have much room to play with. Let's say a pre-existing road on Pine Island is, it's a different thing.
Okay, is everybody comfortable then moving to the resolution?
Yep.
Okay. So obviously, somewhere in here we need to say that the drawings exclude, the application excludes a new deck or dock, sorry.
Okay.
But it's still on the drawing, it's not labeled, but it's still on the drawing.
And we have submitted to the DEC for that. the conversations that started.
I just wanna be sure the
Yes.
resolution is clear on that.
Not approving it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we need to, just, I think on relative to CCAC, we can really just say that the pool has been moved out of the buffer, that the, wetland has been reviewed on site when we reviewed it.
And I think the calculations appear on,
And the calculations appear on another drawing, so.
yeah.
So is there any maintenance even with, that you'd wanna include in here?
Right, do
Even
you
if
wanna
you're
say
just
something
doing
about the
some
deeper?
pumps? Or you would leave it
No,
out?
amend the design to, amend the plan to include the, modified,
Basis.
basin, yeah.
Yep.
Does that doesn't go in the resolution though, right? That's
Yeah, I
just,
would,
okay,
Yeah,
include it as a
okay,
condition,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
Like cleaning your gutters out.
yeah.
Yep.
Gotta be mucked out twice a year. I move that we approve the resolution as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and seconded to approve the resolution as amended, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dean.
You have.
Yeah.
That's what I
Did you see the CCAC memo?
We did.
Any comments on tree protection?
So the trees in question that they flagged, the road widening in those areas was actually kept to, it's narrower than it is in other places on the road for the specific intent of trying to avoid an impact to those trees. Sean had told me that we can, disturbance won't be all that deep because you're limited to just the curbing and paving, and to the extent there's any disturbance around roots, are gonna be done by hand digging and then air spading if we need to get through the roots to minimize any impacts. So we can add notes to that effect to the plan.
Okay,
And then on the plantings, I know it's outside of the buffer.
it's outside the buffer, we already discussed it.
Okay.
It's not, I'm not worried about that.
Right.
Understood.
And then the maintenance issue, which is,
So I did prepare a draft declaration of a stormwater facility maintenance agreement. It was styled off the same one that we used for 120 Old Post Road. So I can just, I mean, I know Kristen hasn't seen it yet, I'm happy to run it past her. But essentially it will impose the maintenance obligations initially on the owner of One Pine Island Road. There is conversations of getting a more formal HOA together. So the only caveat in here is that we provided an ability to assign those maintenance responsibilities onto the HOA once that's.
okay, so
formed.
Christian, the only issue is really, whether we wanna hold off approving this until we have this, maintenance agreement buttoned down, or whether we move forward with it.
Well, we need to add the tree protection note to the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of ministerial, but it would make it cleaner if it was all done at the next meeting.
So why don't we leave this, go to the next meeting for approval and try to get that, those two items cleaned up.
No
Okay.
problem.
I mean, that we'll have the response to the CCAC prepared in advance, you know,
Yep.
Right,
you know, so it can all be.
Okay, so you know what to do between now and our next meeting.
Thank you all.
86 Maple,
Yes.
um,
I did see the CCAC file.
right there. Got it.
Acceptable, yeah.
Did anyone have a chance to look at the resolution?
Yes. Item.
We just need to fill in the CCAC portion, that was absent.
Yeah, that is acceptable.
Done that, I think we're good to, so. I have a motion to, approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion has been seconded to approve the resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Seven before us.
782. Pulling the trees.
Yeah. You gonna get your plans up?
Yeah.
I didn't give you any of my stuff, did I? I actually, you should have stuff, right? You did say, okay.
What do you need them to?
Actually, Laura, you got Laura.
Okay, nope, I got it.
So,
What is this line, by the way?
That is a FEMA designated flood zone. You see that we have these wonderful crisscrossing, overlapping, regulated areas, that kind of chases everything up into that corner.
It's the letter, it's the program.
Give me a second.
I would like to get on the plans for the,
What?
absolutely, I think this work.
I thought it was like a question, I was like, look,
But it seems
such a
surprising,
bold line.
yeah, but it also seems surprising given that.
It's low and it wraps around, I think, that's what it's doing.
Although the RP applies to like Crescent Avenue, you know?
That's gonna come in Berg Lane and, Phillips Lane and, all the storm.
Yeah,
Big one.
big storm.
Really big stuff.
All the-
Zone X,
You're asking me?
0.2% annual flood.
2%, that's 100 years.
Okay, and the next one.
0.2?
2%'s 50.
Oh, no,
Point two, zone X.
0.2.
Point two.
It's X,
Yeah.
so it's the
X.
500-year zone, it's not.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I love it, point two.
That makes more
That's
sense.
a build the arc. Yeah.
Although it definitely feels like a flood.
Yeah, where's the arc?
Yeah.
Is that right up?
They're gonna build it in the wetlands so they can float away.
Well, the East Coast even
Don't
exists.
joke.
Your plan shows some tree removals. Have you reviewed that with Christian relative to the tree law?
No, we can't do that.
You just need to do that.
Christian mentioned it, the tree over here is, excuse me, get my bearings. There's a standing dead tree that fell over in a recent nor'easter, that's no longer there, would have been in close proximity to where we were during the sidewalk. And some other,
We're not worried about trees that aren't there anymore.
yeah,
There's
Just make
another-
sure, yeah, just make sure.
It's just the trees that are over 8 inches that are coming down. You get so many, you might be fine, it may not be a non-issue, so.
nothing over 8, and, you know, we've got the garden abandoned structure kind of tucked up in the corner, close to some trees. But those were intentionally planted ornamentals, and we're going to do our best to mitigate any damage to the critical root zones.
Okay, have you seen the CCAC comments?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yes.
Okay. Personally, I think that the focus is on the wetland per se and the mitigation you're doing to it. And it looks like to me anyway that this original construction was obviously done to stay out of the wetland setback, but the wetland setback moved, the wetland boundary got shifted.
They're
I mean,
not
it
static.
just seems to be so obvious the way the kinda nicks all the corners there. So,
Right.
I'm not kinda really overly concerned about that, I don't know if anybody else is.
Well, keep in mind also, it's being removed.
Yeah, but the new plan.
Right.
There's a corner and
They're asking for a reduction in the pool. To make it,
Or
so
the
it's completely out.
overall hardscape or.
Right.
So I think the number, what's the total increase?
So the total increase now with the understanding that we're not getting a credit for that portion that's being removed that constitutes the violation, what was built, and existing when Mr. Ellery bought the house. That's coming out anyway, but we know we're not getting credit for that, it's about 165 square feet. That brings the proposed increase up to 675 square feet. So, in accordance with the 2-to-1 mitigation standards, 1,350 square feet, we're still proposing, 3,000 square feet. We understand the spirit and the intent of the regulations, and checking off the box with the minimal standard isn't going to do a lot to help that neighborhood. So this is more of a full-on restoration, genuine effort to get this system functioning, in more of a naturally intended capacity.
Alright, can I make just a quick suggestion which might make this a little bit more palatable? It's good that the building is outside the buffer. You nicking the pool right here in the corner, if you can somehow get the pool itself out of the buffer, then it's just the hardscape, and it's a little bit less,
We're talking water's edge?
Yep.
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
okay.
No problem.
So let's make those changes, go through the tree thing, and then come back in December, and if everything's good, we can set the hearing at that point, before the first meeting in January, okay? Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
See ya.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, but he was the one who brought, he was the one who brought coffee. I remember, nobody took it, but
It's better to
it was
use-
nice that
it's better
he
to
did.
use
And he came, so
Yeah.
that's good.
It's true.
I would've taken one.
Milton.
My favorite.
Yeah, we're doing Milton next.
Yeah,
Well,
not to be.
Ed and director, I'm like, what the heck is this gonna facility managed? So the guy, took this pause, he was like, we were flying it, what's the?
Did you really do that? Can we do it before the meeting rates?
What do you want, Dean?
So how he gave us that.
Site plan, I guess
The
there's
tree
two
lot.
sites that he said.
Hold on.
So,
Right.
there's a lot of things here that are, outside of our purview, really, but really need to be kind of addressed, and, I mean, there's just the ugliness of the building, the blank wall. You could put in faux windows, you could do something, the roof deck without having, if you had a pitch roof. There's a lot that needs to happen before this can go through the three boards, in my mind. And, you're kind of stubbing your toe with us first, and we're really not sure how to move forward, so.
Well, I'd like to go to the zoning board and see if we can get the variances for the project. The property next door, which is in that rendering, we're no taller than that piece, and probably have similar variances. Our FAR is slightly higher because of the FEMA requirements that the lower level counts. When you take the lower level out, the building is only 1,900 square feet. The existing coverage on the property is 969, the proposed coverage is 995.
Yeah, but you've also you're also removing, because you're putting the garages there, you're removing some more grass that's outside your property, that's between the road and the property. I mean, so the amount of
And you're
pervious
giving, and there's,
surface
sorry.
is significantly being decreased.
Right, and I know all this is in the buffer, but most of the buffer here is the road and the parking lot to the marina. It's, I understand it's in a buffer and it's regulated area, but it's not, this is not an impactful project on that marina, given that it's got a road and a parking lot between the two. So, I understand all that, it's a unique piece of property, it's incredibly small. On the back side of the house, which we don't have an elevation of, we'll address getting some windows and fenestration in it. But what the owner would like to do is make sure he has a project before he spends the money designing a building.
Where could you put mitigation? I mean, there's nothing proposed, so, I mean, how do we approve something without any mitigation?
The only mitigation we have is we have about 300 square feet of property that's not built on.
Right, that's the problem.
That's about it.
That's the problem.
And it's no different than, I tried to find a wetland permit for this property, but I wasn't able to find it. They have their whole properties.
Well, and not to state the obvious, but that property is actually in the parking lot, yours is on the street front. Yours fronts Milton Road, that one's literally in a parking lot.
Right, but this is the road here, then this is the parking lot, right opposite our building. So this is all parking lot, and this is all road. But this whole property is completely in the buffer.
Are there 3 garages?
There's 3 openings, these are the 2 garages at the end, just an opening to get storage in and out of the building. But it's not deep enough for a parking space, it's really just storage. And that's all you can have on the
You
lower
don't need
level.
you don't need a building that takes up the entire property. If you can't put on mitigation, I don't understand why we should approve the wetland permit if there's no mitigation.
We can put in a slight bit of mitigation on the areas we're not building on, and we
But why do you
can
have to
look
build
into
on the whole
doing
property?
some green roofing materials.
Why do you need to build on the whole property? What's the community benefit to letting them build on the whole property?
It's a repetitive flood damage build, so.
How many times?
4 or 5 times. He has a tenant that's moving out now, so now it's his time to do it. So in order to absorb the cost of taking the building down, raising the building, you have to build a certain size building in order to make it work. The parcel is only 1,300 square feet. I mean, it's incredibly small. It's a difficult application. I understand it. It's a difficult situation for a property owner.
He purchased knowing the constraints though.
I don't know anything about how long he's owned it or whatever, but it's been.
It's been constrained since it's been
Oh, I'm sure it has,
yes.
but in his ownership, he's had several floods where it's been severely damaged.
He's owned it for about 10 years, if we
I think it's 2013.
bought it for $275,000.
This is a tough one for me personally. I kind of agree. You know, the point about the lot coverage, it's only 30 square feet more, however, you're going from a deck to a 3-story structure. That doesn't, I mean, no one says you need to be doing that. I'm not following the logic.
Well, but as I said, the square footage of the usable part of the house is about 1,900 square feet. which-
Currently.
No, in the proposed house.
What is it currently?
1,200, so it's not substantially that
But
much
you're
larger.
not counting,
But I have to count, in FAR, I have to count the
I
whole
know,
lower
but it's
level.
not that, as though that space is meaningless, it gives you 2, maybe 3 garages.
Well, I didn't say it was meaningless, I'm just saying for living space that could be used other than, that's above the flood elevation, it's only 1,900 square feet.
It's an important corridor on Milton. I mean, this is a behemoth of a building compared to what's neighboring it.
Well, I don't think it's a behemoth of a building, it's smaller than the adjacent building, it's just a small site.
Look, I don't
Not
know
on
how
Milton.
these things work, but this is about 5 feet up if you count the steps. And that looks like the same elevation.
Yeah, this is a kind of a compilation, this flat portion of this roof is below that window line. And we just did it scaling off the construction drawings. We can put the elevation side by side, it's just hard in the photo to get it exact because of the perspective. But this building is lower than the adjacent building.
Adjacent
How
to
could,
the
it's
new
gotta be
building, it's not
higher.
adjacent to the building in
It's gotta be higher,
Milton.
at least at the first floor
This one.
elevation.
It has two adjacencies, right, so,
And at least that building steps back, right? I mean,
This building has some step backs in it and cutouts in it, so it's not all one blank wall on the side. Obviously, the opposite side wall is right on the property line. In the proposal, it's right on the property line.
right next to, you know, a historic building. I mean, you've got huge community character problems too, which, you know, that's, I don't know, I don't think that zoning board has an easy decision here to give you the zoning variances that you're looking for. I think they've got the hardest decision. But I think you, even if you get your variances, you're gonna have a problem with this board because you aren't gonna be able to give any any mitigation if you build this wall to wall the way you proposed. And, you know, it's not that you don't have other choices, it's that you don't wanna make those other choices. You can put a smaller building on this lot.
So the traditional practice is we go silent, we support it, or we don't. We write a memo, not supporting it.
Give us a summary of the variances.
I brought it, it's two, front yards, FAR is, .21, where it's a .5 is maximum permissible, and .2 is, I mean, these numbers are wacky, cause
So
it
it's all
says
right
the
there.
property is small, .2 is the 2.0 is the FAR in the CBD. It's max of 35 feet, though, what is this height?
This is, we only need story, we don't need height.
I know, but you're probably,
I think it's like 28, 29 feet.
Story FAR setback, that's the.
yeah, I think you have 6 here.
rear,
Yeah, you got rear, two,
side,
two
total
total side
two,
yards,
two
one side
fronts.
yard, one front yard, one minimum width,
It's a story FAR and a handful of setbacks.
Well, all the setbacks.
All the setbacks.
all the setbacks. The height's okay.
Alright, so to go back to where Christian was going is, we have the three options, to support it, be silent, or to not support it.
Yeah, and, you know, so much of this site is deceptive because what you think is their property isn't. You know, this whole area here is right of way. So I mean, when you,
Yeah.
it's technically off-site, but because of driveways, you now have on-site and off-site impervious. You know, we're only counting what's on the property, but, you know,
CCAC wants us to take into account the fact that there is some unpermitted impervious
that,
that's.
I looked into that,
Okay.
this has been here for, decades.
Okay.
The area, the imagery, street view goes back to 12, but it's there. We think it's somewhere in the 80s, 70s that this was added when they enclosed this rear porch.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Thank you.
78 is when they got a variance for this. I don't know any history on that. I didn't.
They got variances in '02, and they got yards, you know, slew of variances the same way.
2002.
I think it was 2000.
I mean, we could make a point to the,
I would remember that.
Did they get a wetland permit?
I don't know.
I think
That's right.
we should,
make a point that they're not gonna be able to give us mitigation if they get all the variances that they're.
David, did you discuss doing roof with your client?
No, but that's what I just mentioned before, that's the only area we have
It's
to
the
work
only
with.
mitigation option.
Is
We're doing
some type of
traditional
vegetated
mitigation.
roof.
yeah, but, I mean,
It's not a neighborhood.
from a neighborhood character, you'd almost want a pitched roof.
Mm-hmm. Just,
I know, it's a hard, it's a,
so
I mean,
back to the ZBA, I mean, the only choices are to remain silent or to discourage, I mean, endorsing ballot, right?
I can write you a memo for your consideration at the next meeting if you want. Just tell me what you want.
I think picking up on what Laura was saying is, the memo should basically say that if the variances as proposed are all granted, they won't, be able to give us any mitigation. It will be reducing the pervious surface on site, within the wetland buffer, and we don't support it.
a candidate for renovation, not replacement, you know?
Does anyone wanna add anything to that?
No, it's fine.
You're at the sentiment.
I mean, we could add to, we could layer on all of the community concerns on there that this application arises and that maybe would benefit from a joint session with the BAR and CPA.
I mean, it's a little outside of the wetland, but it's not as though you're outside your planning hat, right? All those other
Community
things. If
character.
there's a
Right.
site plan, you'd be
Right.
looking at those
You
things.
can just keep it to the points Nick raised, I mean, they can read plans. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they understand that, this is terrifically challenged, this isn't just challenge, this is like Hall of Fame challenge relative to many that we've seen.
I think we can put in the memo though that we recognize there's a challenge to community character here, or something to that effect.
I'll draft up stuff and then we can look at it.
It's challenge community character, but it's actually a pretty unique, quirky little historic zone, it's not just, it's not, what's it got, you know,
Right.
this is a different thing.
So if you come out in 2 weeks, you're gonna circulate the memo, or make an application.
When is your submission, when is the next meeting? I don't think I know, they're Thursdays, right?
We only have one meeting this month and then we have one in December, so we are
Well, you
December.
I'm in no rush.
Yeah, no, you won't make the December
I was gonna ask
meeting.
a question.
That's honest.
You won't make the December meeting.
Right.
So, you know, we'll kick it around at the, whatever
But I'll
that-
make your December meeting.
Yeah,
We'll come back
yeah,
to
you
you.
guys have, sorry.
That's good.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
96 Forest.
Somebody will come and carry the torch, can you find
Yeah. Solve everything.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm David Schiffer, and this is Frank Iorio, and we're representing Jocelyn Janine Weisenbeck at 96 Forest Avenue. Landscape plan.
So you were actually the applicant, huh?
From the tree permit, yes, it was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Which one do you
Tree
want?
permit.
Well, this is the landscape plan, and there's.
Let's start with what you're removing.
Mhm.
Is that separate drawing? Is that this one?
It's on the tree removal site.
No, that's okay, it's okay. So,
This thing's been really.
so I'm just, while we're waiting for this, I'm just gonna voice that, you know, some of the public sentiment that led to the tree, law that was enacted was about street trees and the removal of just trees that provided both shade on the streets and also contributed to a tree-lined environment, particularly on roads like Forest. So this proposal, which is removing some very, very large trees right on Forest, presents us with essentially a conflict with, you know, the purpose of this this tree law and what the public was trying to do in enacting the tree law and, you know, what this applicant is trying to do on their property. But for me, it looks to me like it's exactly the kind of trees the public wanted us to try to protect, because there is a public benefit to having those trees lining Forest Avenue.
Understood. We do have some modifications to the tree removal plan too. That was first submitted.
So these are the tree removals, the
Correct.
size and the.
Yes. And the caliper of
Yeah.
the tree.
I mean, and I mentioned this in the, to the applicant, the sidewalk, you need an arborist report that sort of goes through the health and condition of the trees. Right now, the form just says, you know,
There should be one, I think I saw it uploaded in there, that my colleague Rachel, put together. There's a Connecticut State Arborist, just mostly about the beach in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
was
it's
just like
not-
the beach in the back, we're not, I mean, look,
It's-
we'd
it
love to
should be-
protect that beach, but we understand that what's
Yeah.
going on with that beach tree, it's not, that's a tree, I think that it's the homeowner probably.
What Christian's saying is we need an analysis of each tree that we're looking to remove.
So something from an outside consultant.
Yeah.
So Wayne is
Yes.
actually one of my teachers in horticulture school, so it's kinda nice to hear his name come back up, and he taught me about tree risk assessment and stuff
He's
like
a
that.
very educated man on trees, so. Anyway, if we get that, then we can talk, and then if you have upgrades to the plan, we can review those upgrades as well.
Well, one of the things that the homeowner wants to do is add a wall on the street front there, and so in doing so, for a couple of reasons, for privacy, for noise abatement there, and where that wall would go, we would be, you know, tree roots are there, so that would.
Well, hang on, the wall's gonna do anything for sound abatement, it's not gonna do anything for privacy, it's only that high, so,
Well, they looked at.
we understand that there's an aesthetic there with all the neighbors doing walls and everything else. There are a lot of walls that have been built in Rye where, you can see actually the wall comes and goes over a root,
Mm-hmm.
went around a tree, had a gap there for a tree.
Is there something we can do to protect those trees with an understanding
So
that
we'd like to see
the law
a
was
report
passed to
and
protect those kinds of trees?
creative treatment.
Right.
Okay. Question for the board, if you guys don't mind. If we were able to come up with some sort of cohesive plan that kept the larger caliber trees, but removed that hedge that's kind of struggling on
The
that?
hedge is not, it's not regulated, so
Okay.
it's really not on the table.
Yeah, we want, yeah.
so I gave you all a copy, a snippet of these are the decision-making criteria under the code. I'm gonna give it to you and ask that you provide at least your perspective, your response to compliance with those standards.
Okay.
And then I think one final point here is, you know, the other critical thing about the tree law is restoration, right? So,
And what's proposed to be restored here is not the kind of tree that we're looking to.
well,
Sounds like
I don't
large
know,
shade trees.
but, you know, there's,
Yes,
and you're looking hardwoods,
Right.
deciduous and.
To help restore that tree canopy that we're trying to protect.
But it,
Doesn't mean you can't plant what you have, it's just, and I haven't looked at every tree that's proposed.
Maybe dying
Nick,
trees.
I mean, like.
well,
There's not, I don't know that every tree is really identified, is it?
Holly trees.
no, they are.
They're holly trees.
The majority of them are hollies
Right.
with a few arborvitaes, not many arborvitaes, thank goodness.
and the magnolias. Magnolias.
Magnolia's in the corner.
And those
And
are.
it doesn't, to me, because there are power lines, I mean, if you had trees even inside, well inside the property, this is a 30-year idea, 20-year idea of these things coming back.
Right.
In a more responsible way in that you don't have these conflicts with, you know, power lines.
Maybe
But
not
with-
removing all the big trees.
And then there's that, but,
Yeah.
so,
There were a few on site that you just thought you'd remove, but weren't really affected by the wall, right, when we were walking, there was like two
Yeah,
or three.
we've taken some of those off the list too.
You
The
did take
maple
those off the
there,
list.
yeah, so
Okay.
some of those two sugar maples.
So is that not, is that,
No, he said they have a revised plan, so that
oh, sorry,
our
okay.
plan's out of date a little bit, so.
Yeah, there was, I mean, what I noticed most was there was obviously a lot of some previous construction work around the base of some of those larger trees inside on the front lawn, and so, you know, that's why getting the health assessment and getting somebody in there to look, 'cause what's that about, right?
Right,
And
that
what's
happened
what's
probably
happened to
when
the
the
trees.
house was
Right,
built
there's
in
just
2018.
pieces of cement around and just sort of, you know, it didn't really look like, it had been well cared for, so,
They haven't actually even moved in yet, they're
Yeah.
just doing it,
Yeah.
work now, and the
Yeah.
people that there are, we've actually done a lot of maintenance in terms of invasive vines growing from the neighboring properties onto some of the evergreen are surrounding the back, especially the big spruce. There was a couple big ones that previous homeowners
But
pretty much
the-
neglected.
As you keep saying, Laura, the tendency when you have that kind of overgrowth is to go, just clear it all out and we'll start from the beginning, but that's
That's not what we're.
not what we wanna do. That's not what we think the city, this is not the intent of the law, yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a revision and submit that, and then we'll go from there.
We'll get an arborist.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time, and then, yeah, we'll get, an arborist to come do the inspection, but if all those trees are staying, still need the arborist report, just,
Only on the trees you're removing.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, alright,
All right,
thank you very much. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
But the arborist report also needs to say that they'll survive construction too, or what the
Yes.
tree protection measures would be,
Of course,
all
yes.
of that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect, thank you guys, have a great night.
Thanks.
As always.
Fidel.
Fidel.
Just sound of music.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Plummer.
Yes,
To
it
what?
is. Apparently there's never ending list with racket sports.
That was news to me.
You're still here?
And the fact that you figured out how it was pronounced, Dan,
Fidel.
it's Fidel.
Fidel.
Okay.
Alright.
Tomato, tomato.
What exactly, what do I don't even know how to look at it.
You want to go outside?
What exactly is the surface of this court?
So it's a concrete base, and then it's a synthetic turf that comes like carpet, and it's a mat, and they roll that out onto this court.
And the glass is how high?
Glass is 9 feet high, and then on the edges, there's this screen that basically helps stop the ball from leaving the court. But the total height of this is 13 feet.
There's an existing fence
There's an existing, yeah,
on the proper, on the
which
court today.
will be correct.
And that's staying,
That's staying,
and how tall is that?
10 feet.
Wait, the existing fence that faces the Edith Reed?
Yes.
So how much space is between the glass wall and the fence of the paddle court?
Bring up Christian top-down plan.
Yeah, I think they,
Yeah, just, you saw the CCAC comments where they
Yeah,
mentioned.
that's
We
why.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
why we're
about the
asking.
birds,
It's
yeah.
about birds.
I think the existing fence should help to mitigate that, because if the glass walls are less than 10 feet, and the existing fence is 10 feet, for a bird to hit it, it would have to go over the tennis fence and then dip down as if it's going down to the court.
well, it's a
Which one do
visual,
you want?
it's a visual thing, so.
Colorized ones, that would be nice.
So this shows the chain link fence being right smack up against the edge of the court.
Yes. It'll be very close.
That's one side.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Are there courts built with distraction markings? I mean,
Not typically, but we can do that if that's requirement.
Or just like distract the whole,
Yeah.
it's not like you're walking through a door, through the whole run of it.
Did they do some on office buildings, right?
I was just in, I was
Yeah.
literally just in a new health center in Austining, and this gorgeous design of the new health center, and you're inside and it's just these dots. It's just sort of like, oh, okay, and it doesn't, that you can't see from outs, it's not a big deal.
yeah, well, there's dots and there's frits, so, I mean, if the glass had frits in it too, it would be the same thing.
What's a frit?
It's like a little mesh, like a little series of dots.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's like frosted.
like a frosting.
And then the other issue they brought up, which is also good relative to birds, is the lighting, and we talked a little bit about that on site. So we'll need a real spec on the light relative to making sure it's straight down and not,
They offer several different types of LED lights. The pole is the same, it's a 20-foot pole, same thing that's on a paddle court. So, there's less, well, there's actually, in the plans, I think there's 2 lights on each side. So, will get the specifications on it. I was
Yeah.
trying to get the manufacturer to give me a foot candle.
And
Yeah.
can they be set up with motion detectors so that literally when people, I mean, you drive by paddle courts all the time and the lights are on and nobody's playing.
Right.
So if it were motion sensors, we would know it would go off when people are down, so it's what.
I know with the current lighting system for the paddle courts, those are all on timers and they go off.
So you have to physically turn them and then they go off.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's actually,
yeah,
I think,
timer,
better,
yeah.
preferable.
Yeah, motion sensor is wildly determined more.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And this thing is completely enclosed in glass, correct?
Not completely, just along three sides. So actually, if you go back to, if you wanted to go back to the other piece, but glass is three sides around, and then there's mesh on the two entry points at mid-center of the court. Right here.
And that's where you get on it, where
Yeah,
you
so,
enter.
I mean, players will enter here, and you enter the court at the net, basically. It's a 6-foot wide opening. So, unlike paddle, which you're in a cage, you close the door, and this is open on the sides.
Distraction.
It's,
Right.
it's tired.
It wants me to
It's
stop.
tired. Yeah, that's fine, we'll see you next time, we'll get pictures next time.
And this is actually what the manufacturer provided to us. This happens to be an indoor court, there's a lot of indoor facilities here. But, you can see through this diagram here, that
It's like-
there's two panels of glass on each end, and then this is all the mesh,
So,
and then it's open in the middle, and it's the same on
And
both
the court,
sides.
and there's two courts, one on each side.
Correct,
and they're facing each other like that, so the mesh on each court is facing each other.
correct.
So when you play it, I'm just curious, you can play the ball off just the back wall like paddle, or you can play it off the side walls like squash,
You can play it off of all the walls, yes.
but not the mesh, obviously.
Correct. Well, if it bounces off the mesh, you can still play it. But unlike platform tennis, you're not supposed to be you can play, it's not meant to be banging into the walls.
Is that what they do here?
No. Well, when you play platform tennis,
Yeah.
you can use the screen, you play the ball off the screen, but you could also use the screen to bounce it. You're not supposed to be,
More of a soccer.
it's more like, a little more like tennis, pickleball. It's a very big European sport. It's been
Okay,
around
so
for a
the
long time.
CCAC also made a comment that we can't enforce because it's not in the law, about PFAS and making sure that the material, the carpet material is not PFAS.
Check into it.
Yeah,
It's
look
probably
into it.
PFAS.
Probably is.
They can make it without it,
Mhm.
you know. It can be, it's becoming a thing now, so you might have it in the product.
Just out of curiosity, the glass has to be cleaned periodically. Is there enough space to the chain link fence to
So
actually?
the panel, these panels.
The western edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
Long squeegee, I don't know, I mean,
It's true, it might be a maintenance problem.
or maybe you just cut panels in this chain
Maybe they
link.
removed it, maybe they're removable or something, or they come.
They
in
come
once.
out like this, fancy windows, rotate on the edge.
What we don't want is to have it get built and then you come back next year and say, by the way, we're taking the fence down.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before we just, note on procedure, based on the comments, we're coming back next month with additional materials before we can get referral out to DOA.
This does require a variance, the only
Well,
variance,
two now, because we,
no, it's part of the structure,
Oh,
so I would
okay.
not consider that.
Okay.
It's part of the encroachment, it's not a separate thing.
I said that
So-
all along.
Right, so the structure, I mean, if this were a building, it could be what? 40 feet.
There goes that billable hour.
Cruel.
Cynical.
You go way back.
So, it needs the encroachment variance.
Yes,
for
it
being in
does.
the-
100-foot
so
wetland, 100-foot.
You may say
Buffer.
something, you know.
Right, okay, yes,
Alright.
to answer your question, yes, you're coming back next time.
Okay.
But we can file it to the zoning board.
We need their.
You're not gonna make, you're talking January meeting, right?
Yes, we don't have
So
a denial.
we do have a denial.
Okay.
We got
Oh,
it
you
today,
do?
we got
Yes.
it today,
Alright, so you need to file by Thursday.
yes, which we can do, but typically we like to get your all's blessing before we do that,
Or no comment.
or no
Or
comment.
no
Well,
comment.
there'd be a no comment.
Okay.
Okay. And, December, do you know what the meeting date it is?
11th.
Oh, so it's before the planning commission. Okay. Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks all. Okay, our next item on the agenda is consideration of the schedule for 2026.
The only issue we had was because of Labor Day. I don't think you wanna have a site walk on Labor Day weekend, but then that means that you have 2 site walks in August, which is also not ideal, but
I would leave it as it is, and, you know, it's a good chance
you can
some of our
cross that
sidewalks
bridge.
get canceled anyway.
Okay, that was the only,
Yeah, I noticed that,
Issue.
right?
Yeah, that seems like a lot, yeah.
The only thing that I've always, I noticed, cause of course I wrote them all the city council ones alongside of them, and it's always the fall where you guys don't match up. You match up great the whole rest of the time, like I can just get it done Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I don't lose weeks. At the end, something happens.
it's
Um,
usually,
Well-
I think it's Labor Day and,
The Jewish holidays or something?
not
Could
this
be.
year, not next year, but I think it's Columbus Day and Labor Day, because they're both Mondays, it kinda, I don't know,
I'm not gonna complain. but
trying
I'm
to
just
avoid
like,
holiday
"Please,
weekends
people."
and stuff.
I hear the violin music, but,
I know.
Alright, interesting.
alright, minutes.
We get 3 a year,
Well, actually,
right?
so is everybody okay with the schedule? Yes. Alright,
Yes.
great.
Okay,
Thank you for
good.
the schedule.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Alright, minutes, anything on page 1? Wait a second.
I'm trying to find my version.
All my minutes, these are the clean copy, I got the dirty copy.
Did you mark yours up, Nick, or you want
I
mine?
did, that's mine.
What? I don't think I have mine. Hold on.
Okay, page 1, nothing on page 1. Page 2, line 20, you could change that from,
It's good to have Nick edit this paragraph. How many do this?
can we change on line 20 of page 2, can we change that from granddaughter to grandson?
Oh, sorry. You know, when I was reading it this morning, I actually was like, wait a minute, is that right? Yes, I think I can change that.
Let's throw it out there. See if you notice this.
Anything else on page
No,
2?
maybe it was a test.
Page 3, line 22, it should be he noted.
Yep. Thank you.
Anything else on page 3? Page 4, line 18, I think it's gotta read, line 18 should read, is not disturbed. We're missing a not.
Yes, you're right.
And then on line 41, instead of saying property line which makes it not possible, it's just, can we just say makes it difficult to have?
Okay.
I also, Nick, I'm writing that same zone, I'd actually re-specified which property line. Just cause there are
Yeah.
multiple.
Yes.
Guess that would be east. East
Okay.
is highway
It says,
side.
on that side.
Yeah, is it the one by the road?
Yeah, I'm not even sure they're
It's kind of the, it's kind
in
of the
different
one by the dollar
directions
store.
because it curves around.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is, it's that corner,
Yeah,
right?
let's just leave it as is. So,
Okay.
actually, I mean, I guess you could say it's the east, along the east property.
On the property line, it's just, they could be tuning, I don't know.
Why don't we just say on the, eastern property line?
Okay,
Eastern property line of the east parcel, you know.
oh, true.
Okay, anything else on page 4? Page 5?
It's line 9.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Not of the nature of the slopes.
Are not the nature,
Are not the
Of s-
type of slopes.
yeah,
Not
that's a good.
of the nature of the slopes, I mean, you see what
Yeah.
she's going for.
Yeah,
I think just are not the type of.
Representative
Or not
of,
the type of slopes.
representative of,
Yeah, that's good, I like
representative of the
Yeah.
kind of slopes the regulation was intended, right,
Yeah.
to protect.
Okay.
so we had a whole conversation about the fact that some of these were man-made slopes.
Yeah.
So it might be good to
Say
put that in
right?
there.
Yeah.
And maybe just saying, they're not the type of slopes the regulation was intending to protect, and some were in fact man-made,
If that,
right?
was
Because-
that part of his support for this point, I honestly don't remember,
So we talked about that.
no, I know we did.
Yeah, I'm not sure he did, so
I'm
maybe
trying
we add it to the
memorialize
next
what he
bullet
said.
point.
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to say
Yeah.
the commission noted,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just say the commission noted that some of the steep slopes are man-made,
Okay.
and leave it at that. Good point. Anything else on page 5? Page 6?
Thought on 6, the whole paragraph, the second paragraph, starts on line 14.
Yep.
Halfway through it's a sentence that he stated that the pipe will have a tidal flap, et cetera. I think that is a standalone bullet if we feel that it's important, because it doesn't wet up with the sentence that precedes it very well. And the sentence that precedes it really seems like it should be affixed to the prior paragraph. Just take a second and look at that.
About filtering.
No. Look how the first paragraph ends, it's sort of, just the next bit seems like it's a whole part of it.
I guess cause it changed to the city planner. Right,
But the topic remains the same.
the topic's the same, yeah. Well, even the third bullet's about the same topic at that point.
maybe just break up
Yeah,
that second
yeah,
bullet.
that's true.
So, I don't, you know,
Well, on line 17, I think it would, where we say, and it will be visible. I think we should actually clarify that to just say, and the tidal flap will be visible,
Yeah.
as opposed to the pipe.
I got it. No, if we like the current paragraphs, the parsing of it all, that's cool.
Anything else on page 6?
No.
Page 7?
There's nothing else for the rest of it.
Page 8, line 2 on page 8, it's a silver maple, not a sugar maple.
Okay.
You wouldn't find a sugar maple in a wetland, but you will find a silver maple. Anything else on
It's
page
so
8?
excellent to have on this board.
Valuable.
Page 9.
getting by you.
On page 9, line 18, if we could just say, so which are generally smaller, I'd
Okay.
say on the smaller side.
Okay.
Anything else on page 9? Page 10? Have a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Now, if there's just a way to turn this photo into meeting